play and call it work. MiniWarGaming's Faction Focus!
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first of my two-part faction focus review. So actually I'm going to do a review right now on YouTube, and then I'll do another video in the vault where I talk about how I'm going to build my lists and some ideas I have for just general tactics for the Drukhari. But right now we're going to go through all the new units in Drukhari, so everything we have. We're going to go through all the units and special abilities. We're going to start off with the Power from Pain special rule that is army-wide. So it's a battle round ability that you gain starting on turn 1, battle round 1. On turn 2 you gain a new ability, on turn 3 a new ability, and they're all commutative, so you have them all. So on turn 5 plus you have every one of these abilities. Very similar to how Power from Pain was before. Let's start off with the very first one, Injured to Suffering. Roll a d6 each time a model with this ability suffers a wound on a 6 plus or on a 6. Ooh, on a 6, not a 6 plus. It ignores the injury and the wound is not lost. I can't think of anything that can modify that roll anyway, but if you have an ability that could modify that roll as the +1, it doesn't say 6 plus. But that's probably a minor issue. So you heard me, if you watched the battle report first, which for me, filmed literally a couple of weeks ago, at least a week ago, I filmed that battle report. I said, go ahead and check my review as to why I'm a little confused about how this rule works. It sounds pretty straightforward, and many of you are going to listen to what I'm about to say and be like, oh, you're overthinking it, Steve, or many of you will disagree with my interpretation or think it's a different way, or you might fully agree with me. But basically, the way I interpret this special rule is, every time you take a wound, you roll a die. On a 6, you don't take that wound. Now, if you got hit by a las cannon that does d6 wounds, say one Cabalite, what's your basic trooper, gets hit by the las cannon, it wounds them, and then it is multiplied into d6 wounds. So say it rolled 4 wounds. I would then roll 4 6s to see if I ignore them, because it did 4 wounds. Now, I would do that as well for mortal wounds. However, there are a number of these other special rules throughout all the other factions. Some that say every time this model takes a wound or mortal wound, roll like a 5 plus or whatever, and the damage is not taken. Giving an immediate precedent that wounds and mortal wounds are separate. So as I would interpret this to be then, if I had just read this, I would take it against mortal wounds. However, knowing that some of them state mortal wounds, wounds or mortal wounds, roll whatever and you ignore the damage, I have to interpret that Injured from Suffering does not work against mortal wounds. Now, I know the whole argument can come up, is a mortal wound a wound? Yes. Do we ignore wounds on a 6? Yes. Is a race car a car? A race car is a car. We're adding an adjective, it doesn't change the noun. But it's a very difficult one for me because I'm very much rules as written, and as written, a mortal wound is a wound. So I don't like the rules as intended, though I'll say this. Matthew did email somebody over at Games Workshop, and he said, not that this is law right now or hard and fast FAQ, you should generally treat mortal wounds and wounds as separate. So unless it says mortal wounds, you shouldn't take it against mortal wounds, and I can accept that. So for this one here, not taking it against mortal wounds is probably the right thing to do. Everybody may interpret that differently, different gaming groups will handle it differently, and secondly, I'm not going to get too in-depth with it, but if you read how you take damage very carefully inside the rule book, you can argue that some of these are written in a way where you would take them before you multiply the damage. Like say Alaskan does d6, you do 1 roll, and then if you pass it, you take no damage. If you fail it, you take d6 wounds. And some are worded in a way where you would multiply it and then take your saves. So there's no consistency throughout all the indexes. Throughout all these books, there's no consistency in how all these things are worded. So you'd have to read each one carefully and interpret it the way that one is particularly written. And again, like I say, I'm not a rules as intended type of guy. I'm very much rules as written. I believe they're probably intended to work all the same way. So until there's a major FAQ, which I don't think will be too long at the door, that addresses all these things. This is the only kind of, these are the only holes in the boat that I see right now in 8th edition. So how all these ignore damages on a whatever roll work. So that was my bit of a rant on how this could be interpreted, because it was a big long discussion here in the office which again, it can be interpreted in a number of different ways. So how I'm going to deal with it is I'm probably not going to play these guys a whole lot until an FAQ comes out. It's the simplest way I can do it. But injured, so turn 1, battle round 1, whether you go first or not, first battle round of the game, you get ignored damage on a 6+. So it's almost like a 6-up feel no pain for the entire army. Everything that's not a vehicle, because vehicles don't have the power from pain special rule. It's pretty good, depending how you interpret it. And on turn 2, you gain eager to flay. You can reroll the dice when... I don't know if you guys can hear that, but something with a lot of bass just drove by. Eager to flay. You can reroll the dice when determining how far a unit with this ability moves when it advances or charges. That's really good. They want to push Dark Eldar, Drukhari, more to the close combat play style, so that's great. Rerolling the dice for charging and advancing if you want to advance. I say you don't want to advance that often. You want to keep shooting and only advance if nothing's in range of your gun. Then on battle round 3, that's turn round. Flensing Fury, you can add 1 to the hit rolls made for a unit with this ability in the fight phase. So a lot of your things, a lot of your troopers, your Cabalites, your I'm forgetting what they're called, Incubi, they're hitting on 2s in combat. That's very, very good. We haven't seen that in addition ever. So just starting on turn 3 of the game, you guys are hitting on 2s or +1 to hit. So you guys that are normally hitting on 4s, which are like your Talos and your Kronos, they're hitting on at least 3s starting on turn 3. But yeah, all your infantry, your Cabalites, your witches are good, I think. We'll get to that later. And your Incubi are hitting on 2 starting on turn 3, which is awesome. That's a great ability. Starting on turn 4, you get emboldened by bloodshed. Units with this ability automatically pass the morale test. So around turn 4, your units are pretty whittled down, or the game is close to decided when you play Drukhari, because you're glass hammery. But not having to roll those morale tests starting on turn 4, basically getting army-wide fearless is not bad. No complaints there. And on turn 5+, you gain a Mantle of Agony. Subtract 1 from the leadership of enemy units that are within 6 of any unit with the ability in the morale phase. So basically all your infantry are putting on a bubble of -1 leadership within 6 of them, which is very good. Is very good. But again, late game, units are usually kind of whittled down to the point where they're not losing enough guys from morale tests, but that's not always the case. So they're not as good as turn 1, 2, or 3, but turn 4 and 5, you're getting good rules all around. But having an army-wide 6-up feel no pain, I shouldn't say that, I shouldn't call it feel no pain, but it is most easily understood by most people who played 7th edition of Warhammer 40k. But having ignored damage on a 6-up army-wide for everything but your vehicles, pretty much. I'll double check if anything is missing that special rule, but I don't think anything is, which is absolutely awesome. So that is their Power from Pain special rules. They also have the Combat Drug special rule. So you're going to see combat drugs on stuff like the Reavers, those are the jet bike guys, the Witches, Hellions, Succubus, a number of things. I'll go over them as we go over the special units. But combat drugs are, you can roll them or you can pick them. But if you pick them, you may not use the same one twice, I think, until all of them are used. Yeah, you have to use every drug before you can use the same one twice if you pick them, which you're going to pick them every time, because one of them is +1 attack, +1 strength, +2 move, +1 toughness, +1 weapon skill. So hitting on a 3+ becomes hitting on a 2+, or +2 leadership. Now, the +1 attack, +1 strength, +2 move, +1 toughness are all amazing. I'm going to pick +1 toughness on my Reaver jet bikes almost every time. I should probably try them with extra attacks. You want to give them +1 strength because they have a special weapon that gives them a stat strength 4. But being able to pick your combat drug, all of a sudden your units of witches that could be toughness 4 or strength 4 or extra attack base, just being able to pick it is absolutely awesome. I love the new combat drugs, being able to pick them. That's it for special rules army-wide, and now we'll go take a look at all the special units that are in the game. Okay, so actually in the last split second for you guys, we had a long talk here at MiniWarGaming, not solely about the Dark Eldar Power from Pain special rule, but all of the, I'm going to use air quotes here, feel no pains. Basically, until an FAQ comes out, we're going to count all of them as they work against wounds and mortal wounds, and you do it after you multiply damage. So for the Power from Pain, the rule on turn 1 that you gain is called Endure the Suffering. So no matter what wound they take, we're going to multiply it if it's a lash cannon, so d6 wounds, and then you roll that 6 up after multiplying damage, and it works even against mortal wounds. Now you can write a big long post proving in your opinion why that's correct, or proving in your opinion why that's incorrect, and you're both probably right or wrong. We're just gonna handle it like that until an FAQ comes out, because there's no good way. And we're not just looking at this one, we're looking at all of the ones that impact all of our armies that we play here at MiniWarGaming. So we're trying to find a streamlined base for now until an FAQ comes out. So let's get back to let's get to the miniatures in the book. So this is my Dark Eldar Drukhari army. I don't have any Hellions or Witches or Grotesques, but all of those things have gotten pretty good, and I should get them. But we're going to start off with the Archon. The Archon has an 8-inch move, weapon skill, blitz skill of 2+, only strength and toughness 3, 5 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, and only a 5-up save. But he does come with the Shadow Field, which is a 2-up invulnerable save. Cannot be re-rolled for any reason, so no command point re-roll in that one. And the second you lose it, the first time you fail the save, you lose it permanently. Other Cabal units within 6 of him can use his leadership instead of his leadership of 9 instead of their own. He has Power from Pain. He can take this one's armed with a splinter pistol and an agonizer, but he can take a blaster. There's also a phantasm grenade launcher on him. He can take a husk blade or a power sword as well. So the pistol is your standard splinter weapon. So it's basically always going to wound everything on a 4+, unless it has the vehicle keyword, then it's a 6+. So that is actually infinitely better now in this edition, because in 7th edition they were strength 1 and could never hurt a vehicle. Blasters or blast pistols are strength 8 -4, D3 damage. The blaster is 18-inch range, assault 1. The pistol is just a pistol, so 12-inch range. The agonizer he's holding is -2 to your save, 1 damage, and it always wounds on a 4+, unless it's a vehicle, then it wounds on a 6, kind of like poison. Power sword's a power sword, and the husk blade is strength user, -2 to your save, and D3 damage. So probably won't be using that a whole lot. I like the agonizer, because at least it has a chance of wounding the big baddies on 4+. Standing in behind him is the Court of the Archon. These guys have taken a bit of a hit. This used to be one big unit. Now they're all single elite choices, and they're all characters. So you can put them all together and kind of operate together, but they're rolling charges separately, they're targeted separately. If you have an Archon, you can take 4 of them that do not take up one of your elite choices. So even this squad here, you get 4 free elite spots. This squad here is costing me an additional 5 elite choices in an army list. So you're almost never going to see this group together again. Though Slith, you don't need 5 anymore. So the Lemayan, that's the one on the far right bottom corner. She has the dagger, which is pretty good. It's still poison 2+ in combat. Carries a pistol. She moves 8 as well. 2 attacks, only 5-up save though, and Power from Pain. Now the Medusa on the far left, they're a little different. I don't know how much I like them. I gotta try them a couple more times, but again, movement 8, 5-up save, strength toughness 3, weapon skill 3 up. They have Power from Pain. Their Eye Burst, which used to be a flame template, is now an assault 4 9-inch range weapon at strength 4, -2 to your save. So it's pretty good, but it's not auto hitting. It's only 9-inch range. You gotta get really close for a 3 wound, 1 attack model with a 5-up save. That's costing you an elite choice. Now the Urgul, just to the left of the Archon and almost center to the left, is strength 4, 3 wounds, 4 attacks. Only leadership 2, but it doesn't matter, he's a lone model. He has a 5-up invulnerable save. He gets +2 attacks when he charges. That's it. You can reroll fail to hit rolls with this model if he's within 3 of an Archon. He's a 7-up save. Sorry, a 7+ save. So he can get modified saves, but he has 3 wounds, no save other than his 5-up invuln and power from pain. Actually, he does not have power from pain. Right, no power from pain for him. So he is, again, not going to do that well. The Slith, they're movement 8, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+. Those are the snake men in the back. They are strength and toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 2, with a 5-up save. They do not have power from pain, but they do have insense from pain, or insensible from pain. The Slith has a 5-up invulnerable save. It comes with a Shard Carbine, which is an 18-inch range assault 3 weapon that wounds everything on a 4+, unless it's a vehicle, then it's 6+. The blade they carry, their Slith Battle Blade, is strength user, which is 5, -1 to your save, 1 damage. You can reroll failed to hit rolls while within 3 of an Archon. And roll a d6 each time Archon loses a wound while they're within 3 of this model. On a 2+, this model intercepts the hit. Well, okay, so the core of the Archon is completely different. So much so that I don't think there's any purpose to them anymore. Other than maybe, you know, if you want an Archon running around, you can have the Slith pulling wounds. Eye burst is a lot of shots at close range. If you're inside an open top vehicle, not bad. But it's not pistol and it's not auto hit for the eye burst on the Medusa. So that does take away some of their effectiveness. So I'm going to play with you guys a bit, see how they go, but I don't think they are necessarily as good as they used to be. The Homunculus, something I haven't had a chance to try yet. It only moves 7, weapon skill and ballistic skill 2+, strength 3, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 8, 6-up save. Does have power from pain and is insensible to pain, so 5-up invulnerable save. Master of Pain special really has add 1 to the toughness of all Homunculus coven units within 6. So that's not bad. You can actually get your racks up there for toughness. We'll go over that when we get to those units. He also has a Crucible of Malediction. A Homunculus with a Crucible of Malediction can unleash its contents once per battle in the psychic phase. If it does so, roll a d6 for each psyker within 12 of this model. On a 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. He has himself a Splinter Pistol and Homunculus tools. The tools are basically wound everything on a 4+, 6-up if it's a vehicle, and that's a combat weapon. He can also take the Weapons of Torture or Tools of Torment. Tools of Torment are a Hex Rifle, Liquefier Gun, or a Stinger Pistol. Stinger Pistol is the same as the Shuriken Pistol. Liquefier Gun is range 8, assault d6, strength 3, its AP is random d3, -d3, 1 damage, and each time this weapon is fired, roll a d3 to determine its AP for those attacks. For example, if you roll a 1, this weapon will have an AP of 1, this weapon automatically hits the target. So it's like a strength 3 flame with a random AP. And the last weapon, the Hex Rifle, it's a heavy one, 36-inch range gun, strength 4, -1, and you can target a character. If you roll a 6-2 wound, it also does a mortal wound. So it's basically a sniper rifle with -1 to your save. Weapons of Torture include the Agonizer, which we know is a poison 4+ weapon, basically, so wounds everything on a 4, 6 if it's a vehicle. Electrocusive Whip, Flesh Gauntlet, and Mind Phase Gauntlet, Scissor Hand, and Venom Blade. The Flesh Gauntlet is... This weapon always wounds on a 4+ unless it's a vehicle, in which case it wounds on a 6. Very typical for Dark Eldar. Each time you roll a wound of a 6+ to this weapon, other than against vehicles, the target suffers a mortal wound as well. The Electrocusive Whip is similar to the Agonizer, only does 2 damage. The Mind Phase Gauntlet does 2 damage to strength user, no AP. The Scissor Hand always wounds on a 4+ unless it's a vehicle, then 6+. It's -1 to your save, but every 6 to wound gets you 1 additional attack. And the Venom Blade, it always wounds on a 2+ unless targeting a vehicle, then it's 6+. There's also a number of special characters, and the Succubus, which is a fast fighter. Succubus has a 4+ invulnerable save because she's so fast, the lightning dodge. Not a lot of weapon options other than ones we've already spoken about. So let's move on to the troop choices. We have Cabalite Warriors here. They are movement 7, weapon skill, bliss skill 3+, strength and toughness of 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, and a 5+ save. Now, they can carry a blaster, a dark lance, phantasm grenade launcher, shredders, splinter cannon, splinter pistols, agonizer on the Solarite, I believe they're still called. They still call that? No, sorry, Cybrite. And they're, you know, okay, I've tried these guys in a vehicle, driving around, open top shooting. They're not good in combat, obviously. And I tried them in blobs, sitting back with multiple heavy weapons, because for every 10 models in the unit, one warrior may replace their splinter rifle with a splinter cannon or a dark lance. That's for every 10 models. So a 20-man squad can have 2 dark lances. And one model may replace its splinter rifle with a shredder or a blaster, and if the unit includes 20 models, one other model may also do so. So the Dark Lance is a great weapon. It's a heavy weapon. It's 36-inch range, strength 8, -4 your save, and d6 damage. The Blaster, we already know, is assault 18-inch range, strength 8, -4, d3 damage. The Splinter Cannon took a bit of a hit. It is only rapid fire 3 now, but it is still 36-inch range. So you're only getting your 12 shots if you're within 18-inch range. So it's a little bit not as good from a far off range. So you're probably not going to see as many of the Splinter Cannons in infantry, more Dark Lances and Blasters now. Cabalite Trueborn basically have 1 extra attack and 1 more leadership, but the Drakon does not get leadership 9, he stays at 8. So they're all leadership 8. He can have a power sword or an agonizer. He can also take a phantasm grenade launcher. Actually, I just realized I forgot to tell you what the phantasm grenade launcher does. The Archon's holding one right now. It's basically, if I remember correctly, it's assault D3, 18-inch range, strength 1, AP nothing, 1 shot or 1 damage weapon. So basically it wounds everything on a 6 pretty much, but any unit hit by it must subtract 1 to their leadership till the end of the phase. So it's great for making guys fail morale tests. Back to the Trueborn here. The Trueborn, up to 2 of them may replace their rifles with cannons, splinter cannons, or dark lances, or up to 4 may take a blaster or a shredder. The shredder is a weapon we haven't talked about yet. It is 12-inch range, assault D3, strength 6, no AP, 1 damage, but when attacking infantry, you can reroll the fail to wound for this weapon. So, you know, assault D3, strength 6 weapons, you're going to wound most infantry on 3s, some of the light guys on 2s, but you get to reroll it, so it's not a terrible weapon. We'll talk about witches for a moment. I don't have any, but they're definitely stuff I have to get. Movement 8, weapon skill, bliss skill 3, same stats as like Cabalite essentially, but they do have a 4-up invulnerable save in the fight phase, just because they're so dodgy. They come with pistols, which most of these guys, most other Dark Eldar or Drukhari do not, so they can fire their pistols while engaged in combat inside like a Raider or a Venom. No escape. Roll off if an enemy infantry within 1 of any of the models with this ability wishes to fall back. The enemy can only fall back if the player commanding it wins the roll off. So they're great for running and grabbing things, especially like tanks, and maybe they can't back off, or other flyers, maybe they can't back off. So that's pretty good, as well as their 4-up invul. I'm telling you, you want these guys in combat. And they're fast enough to get there with their 8-inch base move. Now, the Hydra Gauntlets, the Hectari Blades, the, what are the other weapons that you have? The Shardet and Impalers, they're kind of a joke. I mean, they're not terrible, but listen, the Hydra Gauntlets are a -1 to your save. Each time the bear fights, you make 1 additional attack with this weapon. So it's still on a strength 3 model. Shardet and Impaler is -1 to your save and does 2 damage and no other special rules. There's one more called the Razor Flail. It's -1 to your save. You can attack with 1 additional attack, just counts as 2 weapons, and you can reroll fail to hits for that weapon. So those pretty cool bits that look really awesome on the witches, they're not necessary when you make the unit. You're basically taking them for their 4-up invuln from combat, their ability to try to keep things from backing off. And they have combat drugs, and they get to pick them. So I think combat drugs that are going to go really nice with the witches are either going to be +1 strength or +1 attack. Blood Brides are similar, but they are a +1 attack and +1 leadership over the witches. Another thing, a witch is 9 points, a Blood Bride is 13. It moves from a troop choice to an elite spot, but it does increase the point cost by quite a bit. You're probably better off with more witches as troops than Blood Brides. Checking in on the Incubi, they have movement 7, weapon skill 3+, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, 3 attacks each, 4 on the Clavex, leadership 8 and 9 on the Clavex. Their clave, their weapon, just think of it as a +1 strength power sword, so it's -3 to the AP and 1 damage. The Clavex can also take a demi-glaive, which operates the same way, but he can do it with 2 blades instead of 1, which means he gets strength user, but 2 additional attacks. Now, these guys also have lethal precision, add 2 to the damage characteristics of a close combat attack made by the Clavex, that's the Sergeant, if the wound roll is a 6+. So he is a little bit better. On the whole, they are pretty good with a lot of attacks with basically strength 4 power swords, and only about 18 points a model. I want to briefly talk about Mandrakes next. I don't have any models, but I definitely need to get some because they are movement 8, weapon skill skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 3, 1 wound, 2 attacks, leadership 7 with a save of 7+, so basically no save. But they have a Bale Blast. It is assault 2, 18-inch range, strength 4, -1 to your save. Each time you roll to a wound of 6+, the target suffers a mortal wound as well. They are -1 to get shot at and have a 5-up invulnerable save, and they can also do the deep strike deployment type thing. With 1 wound apiece, 5-up invuln and power from pain, 19 points a model is pretty hefty for those guys though. The Racks, another troop choice, are only about 10 points a model with movement 7, strength 3, toughness 4, 2 attacks. They're the ones who can buy the liquefier gun and ossifactor. They come with homunculus tools. They're basically close combat guys. The close combat attacks are poison 4+, basically, or I shouldn't say that. They wound everything on a 4+, 6+ if it's a vehicle. With toughness 4, and if there's a homunculus nearby, toughness 5 for a troop choice is actually pretty good, but they're combat based. But once we get to turn 3, they're hitting everything on 2s. Hitting everything on 2s, wounding almost everything on 4s because of poison. Pretty good against like really big beefy monsters or anything really. They only have an armor save of 6+, but they also come with an invulnerable save, and they do have power from pain, so they have that 5-up, 6-up all the time. So they are honestly quite, I'll say this, I need to buy some as soon as I possibly can. Grotesque, movement 7, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 6+, but they don't shoot. Strength and toughness 5, 3 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, 6-up save. At 31 points a model, they do have a 5-up invulnerable save and power from pain. You can see that a lot, I guess, here with the Homunculus Coven type stuff. Now, they come with 2 weapons. The Flesh Gauntlet, which we talked about earlier, wounds everything on a 4+, or it's 6-up against a vehicle. If you roll 6-up if it's not a vehicle, you also do a mortal wound. But they also have the Monstrous Cleaver, which is only strength user, so strength 5. It is -1 save, and you get to make 1 additional attack with the weapon. So basically you can have 4 attacks per model. If you use a Monstrous Cleaver, it's 5 attacks at strength 5 with a rend. Or you can do 4 attacks per model with a Flesh Gauntlet, and it is wound everything on 4-up, 6-up if it is a vehicle. You can't have any kind of AP on that weapon, but it does do a mortal wound on a 6 to wound. So actually having the combat options for that is pretty nice. Next up, let's talk about some dedicated transports for your troops and stuff. The Raider here, it is movement 14 unwounded. Its weapon skill 4 for a vehicle. It has 3 attacks unwounded. Its ballistic skill is 3+ when it's unwounded. Strength 6, toughness 5. Toughness 5 only on this vehicle actually. 10 wounds, leadership 7, 4-up save. So we only have toughness 5, and we only have a 4-up save. I think I actually played these guys with toughness 6 in a couple of battle reports. That would have been a mistake. So they're a little more frail than most vehicles, but they do come with a 5-up invuln. Almost all the vehicles for Dark Eldar or Drukhari have a 5-up invuln, which is pretty good. It has fly and open topped. It can have a disintegrator cannon or a dark lance in the front. Mine are armed with dark lances, because, you know, strength 8 -4 to your save, d6 damage is pretty good. And the second you mount a dark lance on a Drukhari vehicle, it becomes assault instead of heavy, which really helps. Now, that's not to say the disintegrator cannon isn't pretty good on its own, because it's assault 3, strength 5 -3, 2 damage. That's good against vehicles and infantry. So I gotta try with more disintegrator cannons, but for now Dark Lances are doing the job for me. What I find very interesting about these vehicles is they have weapon skill 4 for a vehicle. They have 3 attacks at strength 6. Well, that's actually incorrect. They actually have a combat weapon. It's called Blade Veins, which means they're strength 4 minus 1 save. But on the charge, one of the attacks can be allocated to their shock prow, which means it uses the strength of the vehicle, which is strength 6. And it also does D3 wounds with a -1 deer save. So on the charge, it has a bit of a nice little ram with this pointy front end, but basically it's strength 4 -1 deer save in combat. The Venoms as well, they have a 4+ weapon skill with 2 attacks. They move a little faster, 16 inches. They have a 5-up invuln, and they're -1 to hit from shooting. They only have 2 attacks in combat with strength and toughness 5, so 2 strength, 5 attacks in combat, hitting all 4s. It's nothing to, it's not great, but it's better than most other vehicles. It can take 2 splinter cannons, which are rapid fire 3 now, so you really want to get close to your enemy to use that to what effect they had back in 7th edition. But it is a pretty solid vehicle with 6 wounds and a 4-up save, 5-up invuln, and -1 to hit. With double cannon, it got just short of 100 points per Venom now. They're a lot more expensive now. And the Raider itself is 95 for the cannon. So you're looking at about 110, 115 points for a Raider. So the vehicles did go up a bit, which makes sense now that they have a lot more capability with the ability to charge into combat and lock things in. Reavers are not a lot nicer now. They do have a 4-up save across the board for them instead of the old 5-up they used to have. They have 2 wounds apiece, movement 16, they have fly, strength 3, toughness 4, 2 attacks, weapon skill 3-up. They are pretty solid now. Their combat weapon is actually the Blade Veins, I think they're called. Yeah, Blade Veins from the vehicle itself on the back of the bikes. So they're counted strength 4, -1 to your save, and 1 damage. So even with their combat drugs they can take, you don't need to take the +1 strength for these guys because their weapon is already strength 4. So that's why I want to give them the +1 toughness every time. They can still take their heat lances or blasters. I have blasters on mine. When they do the advance, it's auto 8 instead of rolling. Grav Talons and Cluster Caltrops are very different. Now one of them is if you have a Grav Talon, when you charge on a 4+, you can do a mortal wound to the enemy for every Grav Talon you have. And the Cluster Caltrops, they reverse. If enemies fall back from you, they'll suffer a mortal wound on a 4+. But you can have like 2, 1 per 3, so 2 in that squad right there. These things are a very solid choice. I'll talk about them more in my list building and tactics kind of review for this army. I think I'll have these in almost every one. Oh, you know what? Every game I play with Dark Eldar, because they're pretty awesome. The Razorwing Jet Fighter, it's toughness 6, 10 wounds, 4-up save, but it does have the 5-up invuln. It is a flyer, so it has to keep turning up to 90 degrees and moving a minimum of 20. 5-up invuln helps though, it's pretty awesome. It is -1 to hit because it's hard to hit because it's a flyer. It can only be charged by other flyers. Basic flyer stuff. It has either 2 Dark Lances or 2 Disintegrator Cannons. It has a twin Splinter Rifle or upgraded to a Splinter Cannon. And it has missiles that are no longer 1 use only. So when you have missiles, they can do one of 3 choices of attacks. I don't know what the right word is, but you can fire them as Monoscythe, which are Assault D6, Strength 6, no AP, 2 damage, or Necrotoxin, which are Assault 6, not D6, just straight up 6 shots, which are wound everything on a 2+, unless it's a vehicle, then it wounds on a 6, no AP, 1 damage each. And then Shatterfield, which is Assault D6, Strength 7, -1 to your save, 1 damage, but you can reroll failed to wound. And all of them are 48-inch range. So mostly the Assault 6 ones wound everything on a 2+, will be used on anything except for vehicles. And I guess against vehicles you go with Shatterfield for Assault D6 with a rend. But there's argument for all 3 missiles because the other one does 2 damage apiece. So either way, solid choice. And it's not that expensive in points. The Void Raven has 12 wounds instead of 10. It's still toughness 6 with a 4-up save, but it does have the 5-up invuln. I can have Void Lances or Dark Scythes. The Void Lance is what this one's armed with. It has Strength 9, -4, Assault 1, 1-shot weapons, D6 damage. Basically like a las cannon, only it's -4 instead of -3. Or you can do the Dark Scythe, which are Assault D3, and you have 2 of them, so Assault 2D3. Strength 8 minus 4, D3 damage. Both of them are useful. And then the Void Raven missiles. Both missile options are 48-inch range. One of them is the same as the Razor Wing, which is the Strength 7 minus 1 reroll to wound Shatterfield missiles. And the other is the Implosion missile, which is Strength 6 minus 3 to your save. Assault D3, 1 damage. So, plenty of firepower with a 5-up invuln is always nice, but it also has a Void Mine. Once per battle, a Void Raven can drop a Void Mine on the enemy it moves over in the movement phase. After the Void Raven has moved, pick one enemy unit that it flew over, then roll 3d6 for each vehicle or monster in the unit, or 1d6 for every other type of model in the unit to a maximum of 10, and on a 3+, it suffers a mortal wound. That's pretty good. That's actually really good. It's probably the best bomb I've seen so far. I think it's time to talk about my beloved Scourges. See, mine are all armed with Haywire Blasters. I don't think that's a good weapon anymore. So let's talk about the Scourge themselves for a second. They are a fly unit with movement 14, weapon skill, bliss skill 3+, strength toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, 8 on the Solarite. They all carry the Shard Carbine, which is the Assault 3 18-inch range splinter weapon, so wound everything on 4s, 6 as a vehicle, and they have that winged strike, deep strike type ability. And they all have Ghost Plate armor, which gives them a 6-up invulnerable save, and they do have Power from Pain. So 4 in the unit can upgrade to a special weapon. See, mine are all upgraded with Haywire Blasters, which are Strength 4, minus 1 AP, 1 damage weapon, 24-inch range Assault 1. However, if you shoot at a vehicle, if the roll to wound is 4+, you do a mortal wound, as well as the damage. If you roll a 6+, you D3 mortal wounds as well as the... Oh, actually, no. You just do D3 mortal wounds, not including the extra damage. You know, and now that vehicles have 10 or more wounds, not 3 hull points, they are significantly less useful. I just don't see much use for the Haywire anymore because they can take Heat Lance instead, which is Assault 1, 18-inch range, Strength 6, minus 5 to your save, D6 damage. And if within 9 inches, you get to do roll 2d6 for damage and pick the highest. So let's talk about that. Let's compare that directly to the Haywire. If you take Haywire, you do a mortal wound on any vehicle you shoot at on a 4+, D3 for roll a 6. If you fire the Heat Lance, it's only Strength 6, so you're going to wound most vehicles on a 5. The light vehicles you don't care about, doing them on a 4. You wound most vehicles on a 5. And then it'll have no save because it's minus 5 to the save, and it does D6 damage after that. So the Haywire is on a 4+, 1 mortal wound. If you roll a 6, D3 mortal wounds. Whereas the the Heat Lance, you consider this. On a 5 to wound, it does D6 damage. That to me beats out Haywire every which way. And they can also take a Blaster, which is 18-inch range. Well, you know the Blaster. So guys, comment below, you Drukhari players. Is the Haywire Blaster done? Do these guys want to carry Heat Lances now? I think it's Heat Lances now for sure. Heat Lances even over Blasters, because Heat Lances still work against like characters and monsters and stuff. So take Heat Lances on these guys, and they're good against everything. Haywire, they have a little bit of an edge on vehicles, but not even enough to really slow a vehicle down. So the Haywire Blaster, in my opinion, is now done. Big bad Talos time. He moves 8, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 4+, strength toughness 6, 7 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8. He carries 2 splinter cannons on his tail. He can swap it out for Haywire or Heat Lance, a couple other guns, but he only hits on 4+. He's weapon skill 3+, and he does have Power from Pain, so on turn 3, he's hitting everybody on 2+. And he ignores all damage on a 6+ starting on turn 1 because of Power from Pain. He does explode like a vehicle. Okay, he is half a vehicle. He also has a 5-up invuln, so a pretty good thing, and he's not slow with that 8-inch move. He's as fast as most vehicles. He has a number of hand weapon combinations or options, like the chain flails, which are reroll to wound. Ichor Injector, I think is D3 mortal wounds, you roll 6 to wound. But the macro scalpel, his basic hand weapon, I think is the one to go with, because if he has macro scalpel, he has additional attack each time a fight. So if he has 2 of them, he has 2 additional attacks. And the macro scalpel also has a rend, whereas the Ichor injector and the chain flails, there's no rend. So the best outload, I think, is 2 macro scalpels, giving him 6 strength 6, -1 to your save attacks at 2 damage for the scalpel. And he equals out to just a little over 100 points because you have to buy his guns and his macro scalpels. He's not that expensive. His more expensive brother, the Kronos, a little bit more expensive. He is weapon skill only 4+. But again, he does have power from pain, so he ignores damage on a 6+ on turn 1, but starting on turn 3, he has +1 weapon skill, so he has everything on a 3+. He has blitz skill 4, he moves 8, he has strength 5, toughness 6, 7 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, 3+. He does have his invulnerable save, and he does explode like a vehicle. The invulnerable save is 5+. He can have a Spirit Siphon, which is basically Assault D6, Strength 3, -2 to your save. Flamer. And if you roll 6 to wound, it's D6 instead of, sorry, D3 wounds instead of 1. So automatically hitting is what I meant to say when I said Flamer. So yeah, it used to be Flamer, which means automatically hits. Also the Spirit Vortex, which is the 18-inch range, Assault D6, Strength 3, -2. Any attacks that wound a 6 on, sorry, any attacks that roll a 6+ to wound for this weapon also does D3 instead of 1. So it's like a longer range version of the Spirit Siphon. His melee attacks are Strength User, so Strength 5, and any attack rolls of 6 do D3 damage instead of 1 damage. And it does have a -1 rend included in that. The Spirit Probe special rule makes this guy quite worthwhile. You can re-roll wounds of 1 for friendly Drukhari units within 6 of this model in the fight phase. In addition, if a Kronos inflicts 1 or more wounds in the fight phase, you can pick a friendly Drukhari unit within 6 of them that is not a vehicle, and it immediately recovers 1 lost wound earlier in battle. So that's actually pretty good. So he's a bit of a support monster. And last unit is my favorite, the Ravager is back. Mine is armed with 3 Dark Lances. So this thing is 95 points base, and then the Dark Lances are 20 apiece. So this one with this loadout is 155 points. He has movement 10 unwounded, weapon skill 4, blitz skill 3 unwounded, strength and toughness 6. So this one has toughness 6, whereas the Raider and the Venoms only have toughness 5. 10 wounds, and 3 attacks unwounded, leadership 7, 4+ save. It does have his invulnerable save of 5 up. It does have the shock prow thing, so one of the attacks can be allocated to the prow when he charges, and that attack uses strength 6, -1 to your save, and D3 damage instead of the normal strength 4 I would normally have in combat. But it gets 3 Dark Lances, and 3 Dark Lances on a fast-moving vehicle like this that all become assault, so they're not heavy, so it can move and still fire on 3s, or it can advance and fire on 4s. It's a solid little vehicle. It's great for hurting other vehicles, anything, monsters, characters if you can get to them. This thing is almost an auto-include in my opinion. Or you can just give them 3 disintegrator cannons and just mow through bike squads, because it's a 36-inch range as well as the Dark Lance. It's strength 5, -3 to the save, and 2 damage apiece. So both loadouts are usable. I think I'm going to stick with the Dark Lance for most of the time, but honestly, any way you want to run this thing is absolutely fine. So that is your basic rundown of the Drukhari units. I'm going to go make another video right now in the MiniWarGaming Vault where I'm going to talk about my experiences with these guys in different games, how I plan on running them forward, what I feel I need to buy, how I'm going to make my lists, and a few other thoughts I have on the Drukhari list, because I love the Drukhari, I love the Dark Eldar. Now, that's going to be in the MiniWarGaming Vault right now. If you're not already a Vault member, you can click the link below, get yourself a 7-day free trial to watch that video. There's also another Drukhari battle report in the Vault there right now as well. So you sign up for this one, you can sign up, you get that one as well, and a lot of other free videos that we have in the Vault once you're a member. So check it out, see if you can join the discussion with me in the comments below in the next video, if you agree or disagree with the way I plan on building my lists, and tell me what you think I should buy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy wargaming.